Hi everyone, my name is Allan O'Meara. I'm a professional artist and art teacher, and today I'm going to show you how to go about drawing a pencil portrait drawing. Okay, so we're working from a black and white picture here of a friend of mine named Michaela, and I'm going to draw that on this sheet of paper from a pad. Now, the very first thing I need to do is to establish the big shapes. So the big shape of the head, the shoulders, the arms and all that, and also the main elements where they're located. So I can really help myself if I start off by giving myself a line right down the middle of the drawing. Don't be concerned about drawing kind of heavy on there. You're sketching this all in. Use your reference for what it should be. So I've got a vertical line, a horizontal line, and I'm going to put that on my paper as well. So I'm going to draw a vertical line down the middle of my sheet here. I'm drawing a little heavier just to make sure you can see it. There. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to draw is the shape of the head. Okay. So this, if I look at the midsection of the reference and the outside shape, it looks like the halfway point between those, the edge of the face is just a little bit beyond that. So give myself a mark there first of all for the halfway point, and then give myself where the edge of the face that appears to be. Comes down pretty vertical, but then turns in a little bit as we hit the midline and goes across. I'm going to leave that for now. Now I'm going to measure where the chin is, and if there's the midpoint of the reference, and here's the bottom, and there's the midpoint of that lower part there, the chin is just a little bit below the halfway point here, okay? So I'm going to put, just above. So I'm going to put the mark on there, the halfway point. The chin comes to just a little bit, as I said, a little bit above the halfway point, about there. So now I can join that up to the face, and I see that now that whole side of the face is there. Okay, another really good element on this reference material is the line of the glasses. So I'm going to put the top line of where the glasses are located on first, next, and if I look at where the midpoint of the reference is right here, and the top part of the reference, that the middle of that top half is right about here. So it looks like the glasses, the line of the glasses is just a little bit, well, it's about an inch below that from my perspective here. So if I go, the halfway point is there, the glasses are going to be there. So the top line of those glasses is going to be just across through there. Okay, I want to make sure I get this right. That's there. Okay, that's the halfway point, and this is a bit below. And there's the top of the glasses right about there, and then the nose is going to, yeah, that should work. All right, so I'm going to draw that line across there. Then the other structural element that I need to put in is where the shoulders are. And on this, let's go this side first. This shoulder is coming right down to the midline, the more horizontal midline. So it's right about here. I can draw that in quite confidently. On the other side, it comes down from just below, kind of halfway point there to just below the line. So the halfway point here to just below the line. Okay? So that's going to be shoulder, shoulder, side of the face there. Now, what I'm going to establish next is the profile of where her face, the midpoint of her face is. And I'll draw this on here really nice and strong for you. There's a line down through there that shows where the profile of her face is. It's not straight because she's slightly turned. And it looks to me like, if I measure that out, there's the midpoint of that quadrant, and here's the midpoint of the line. It looks like that profile goes right down between the two of them. So if I put that, there's the midpoint, if I draw that profile coming down across through about here, let me see here, it starts up about here, and comes down and across through there about like that. So that's the profile line. So you see how you did this, you put up this whole structure, it really helps you with you need to establish all this before you ever get to any details. Another really strong element is that very dark hairline there, piece of hair, So it looks like it starts up about here, almost at the top, right, a little bit past that midpoint of the profile point, and comes down across the middle of the sheet line, continues on down, and swings over a little bit right about there. Okay? All right. Then the next thing I'm going to draw is I'm going to start drawing the actual elements of the face. So I'm going to start with the nose, since it's right dead center there. And it looks to me like I've got to draw that's the glasses, the top of the glasses line there. So I've got to draw a little bit of a, that goes down a little bit there, that little sweep down from on the glasses. Then the top of the nose where it meets the glasses is right in about there. All right. So now what I can do is I can draw that line of her nose down around it. Actually goes right to the very midpoint of the reference. But so I can come down through here like this, and then put her nose in and across through there, and back up and over there. See how crudely and how you just put it in sketchily, put everything in. Okay, now I've got the nose established, I've got the top of the glasses. I'm going to now go for, say, the midline of the mouth here, right? So if the midline of the mouth seems to start right over here, just past the center line I've drawn on there, and comes through the vertical center line, underneath her nose, and touches on the line on the other side, right there. So there's a nice strong line for the midline of her mouth. I can maybe even at this point just put in the actual bottom lip line. You can just put that in general, because then you get a sense now it's starting to shape up as a real face. There's the top lip, it's a lot narrower than the top bottom lip. You can put that in. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish up the glasses. Okay, so I know that the glasses come over to, there's the midline of this side here, so I know the glasses end just a bit to the left of that. So their glass is going to end right about there. And on the other side, they're out beyond the side of the face by about there. So those are the outside lines of the glasses. And now I can draw a nice strong line across there that dips down like this and across and over there. So that's the whole top line of the glasses. And now I'm going to put in the whole shape of that, her left glass to our right. I'm going to come down to the side of the nose there, on that angle. You can kind of, there's a nice angle there. Come across and over to here, and back up and around. And it's a bit of an angle there, so I'm going to put that angle in there. So that essentially, right there, is the shape of that one side of the glasses. Now I'll do the same on the other side. I'm going to come down, and in fact, I can give myself something here. There's the bottom line of the glasses now, so I know how far down I need to come. Down to here and around and back up. Okay, so that looks like this side's a little bit more elongated looking because of the turn of the face, and that's as it should be. Now I'm going to draw in the actual this actually curves up a little bit there, and that curves up a little bit. I'm going to actually put in, again, I'm sketching this in, just sketch it at this point. We'll fine tune it afterwards. There's the way it goes down through there. The shape, the two edges of the inside of the glass, down to there, across to there, down to there. Now we got nice glasses looking good. Now we're going to put the eyes in. Now the way I do eyes is I put a center line where the pupils are. Okay, so if I go to from the profile to the midpoint to the outside edge of the glass, it looks like that pupil is going to be almost dead center in there. So I'm going to put that line down there. And if I draw a line across through the pupils here, I can see where they are relative to the top of the glasses. So put those so they end up both in the same point. Now I'll put the midline point for the pupil on this side, and it looks like it's about there. Now I put the pupils in. Can you see those there? And then we're going to put the iris in around that. Make sure the iris is a good size. There's the iris there. There's the iris there. Good size. Now the almond shape of the eye. And the inner side of the eye looks like it comes just, there's the midpoint still, goes beyond the midpoint a little bit. So I'm going to start it down here, bring it up across the top of the eye. The iris is always kind of cropped off a little bit by the shape of the eye and around to there. Now the rest of the almond shape of the eye comes across, a little bit of a lumping there, and then there's the corner of that eye is nice and big. Now the other side. Same deal, going across through there and over. It looks like that maybe that profile line should be a little farther over to accommodate that eye. It's a little bit too far over. There, okay, there. Now we've got both eyes set up and the jawline coming down. And now we go with, let me see here, yep. Now, okay, now we've got all those basic elements are in there now. The nose and the mouth and the eyes and the glasses. Now I just need to finish up before I stop here, I'm going to put the rest of the jawline in across up through here, kind of in that place there. And then I'm going to put the, let me see here, we've got the shoulders in. Now I'll just draw in some of the shape of the hair as it comes around. This part comes up through there. We've already got that established there. We've got some hair coming in through here. We've got another little line coming down here. We've got a piece of hair coming across the glasses over here this way, like that. Some more curlicues of her hair there, around and around and around, okay? So there, basically we've got the basic shape of her face, of her head, and the position of it properly positioned on the paper. And now we go about fine tuning. We're going to be using this mechanical pencil to really fine tune the drawing, okay? All right, I'm going to show you a scan of what I've done here, the drawing I've done, and then we can proceed with the fine tuning, okay? So for this next little section, I'm not going to talk so much. I'm just going to really concentrate on fine-tuning the basic elements of the face, okay? So I will talk some because I can't help myself from talking, but so I'm just going to start by going right in here and working on her eyes and nose and mouth, okay? Because if you solve the eyes and nose and mouth for a portrait drawing, you've really done something, okay? So I'm just going to go to work on the details here now. So I'm going to work on the nose, because it's in the middle. And just fine tune it. Make it feel like it's what I'm seeing here. Put the line in a little stronger, not quite so sketchy. I think I'm going to do the glasses shape too. There. Pulls away from the nose a little bit. Across. Always be referencing when you're drawing you've established this line and this line, and when you're drawing next, then always be kind of referencing back to what you've already committed to. That comes across there and swings up into about here. So now I'm looking at how wide that is there, and then try to make this will be slightly larger because of the turn of the profile. So this side's going to be slightly wider looking. Okay, there. And then the middle of the glasses there. I didn't have that quite right, so I'm going to come back in and put that up through there and really commit to the line now across through here. Right to the edge. And I can't really see what's going on over there, but I can see on this side what's going on, so I can kind of do that same kind of shaping over here. Because I can see it on that side. Now I might as well put the actual complete shape, the inside shape of the inside lines of the glasses as well, because that'll help me make decisions on how big the eyes are. These are very slim down through there, all the way over, and the sides are a little wider. And the top is it's not very thin, not very thick across through there too, but I'll put that in like that. So there I've got that full lens of that glass figured out. Still might not be quite right, and I can make adjustments later. Now the other side, I'm going to draw that inner edge of the left, to my left, the left lens, across and up, there, and try to get that top to feel the same as that, a little higher. Actually, I'll put the top in here, not the top on that drawn in yet, so I put that across there first. Okay, yeah, that looks about right. I'm going to adjust this one now because I like that one better. This is very skinny up through there, but gets wider as I go over. Okay, glasses look pretty good. Now I can tell right away that this eye seems a bit too high compared to where this one is looking. Maybe this one's low. I think this one's too high and this one's a bit too low compared to where I place the glasses. I'm going to let the glasses run things now, because as I said, when you commit to something, when you actually get something drawn, then you do everything relative to what you're okay with what you've drawn. So this eye, top of the eye there is a little bit too high, yeah. So I'm going to actually take out that line I put in there originally and draw in. I'm looking at that length, that distance there, and I'll make that distance the same there, and comes over into the corner of the eye. And if I go, there's the halfway point of that lens. So that looks about right where I've got the edge of that to be. And that works there. Might be a little bit farther over. Now then, where is the pupil relative to that eye shape? That's right. Well, that's about right. So it's about, I got that in the right location. I'm going to just arbitrarily put a little spot in there where the flash of light will be. And now draw in the pupil completely. And you never see the entire pupil because the upper and lower eyelid cuts it off a little bit, so you can't see the full circle of it. Now you start checking whether there's the white of the eye there. Make sure that white of the eye is the right size. The white of that eye is quite large on the side because of the way she's turned. There. Okay, I'm content now with that. I don't think I've got the lens, that side of the glass quite, I think I've got it a bit too, I'll make it a little bit shallower. Seems to me like it's just a bit too, again, don't be afraid to erase. I'm going to bring that, make that one, that side there, over to the edge there, that whole side. And remember, erasing is good. Make that a little bit farther over. Make that a little, so that's, because I can see that that shape in there isn't quite right. I'm going to change that. Now, the top of this eye, I've got it established now inside that lens. So I'm going to come back over and see where it located is. I can tell by this that there's some discrepancy. I'm going to move this a tad. So when I draw this, the top of this eye across here, it looks like that's, I got that angle, the angle of the top of the lens might be, of the glass, might be just a bit too high. So now I'm going to make an adjustment here to bring that, the top of that side of the glasses just a bit lower and add in the shape. Click through there. Now I'm going to bring the eye line up a little bit so it matches the top of that eye line there. Now let's keep aware of how much space there is in there. Okay, that looks about right. I think I've got that. It has to come up a little bit in there where I had the original point of the eye on that side. Bring it up just a bit, and the shape of the eye, and down and around. It looks like it's located, positioned quite okay, but the size of it has to be just a bit smaller, I think. Okay, so I think my pupil located where it is good. I'll put that little white flash over there. Now I'm looking at how big the iris is over here, and I want to make sure that this iris matches the size. It looks like if I've got this line right down through the middle of the page here, that the iris is just to the right of that. So I got to make that a little bit farther over, just to match that line there. You always keep checking against things, as I said, you've already established that you think are correct. Looks like there's a bit more of this bottom of this iris showing than the bottom of that iris. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to move this pupil over just a tad more. There. Now when I compare the size of that iris with the size of that, this one seems a little smaller, so I'm going to come in just a little bit smaller here. And there's the white. Okay, so that to me looks, now if I look at this shape in here, that shape in there, looks like this should be over farther. If I look at this and this, that's all good. But when I look at this shape here and this shape here, that should be a little bit farther over. So I'm going to do that same kind of adjustment I did with the top. I'm going to bring that edge of that, inner edge of that glass over, that side of the glass is over to here. So I'm going to make that just a bit farther over. There, now I feel better about the basic shape of that, the basic shape of that. The basic shape of the nose is good. Established that earlier with that bit of, I'm going to start putting in a bit of tone sometimes to establish where that edge of the flange is there. Okay, now we've got the glasses, we've got the eyes, fine-tuned a bit more, the nose fine-tuned a bit more. Now let's do this. Let's bring this shape of the side of the forehead and into the top of the eye there. If I look here, I can see there's a little bit of a line coming up from the edge of the eye right about here. So that helps me establish where the edge of the face is there. And that comes down there. It looks like, and then we've got a negative shape there, we've got a shape there. Go in there like that, and we bring the cheek down across through. Look at that shape there. That whole shape in there looks good. Always be comparing as you draw. That's the edge of the cheek there into the chin. Okay, and then we've got the forehead coming off. So it's going to have to come over just a bit into there and up. Okay. Now the jawline, there's the chin there, and it looks like it's relatively well located. That distance between there and there, that looks like it's a bit too big, so I'm going to bring that up a little bit further. I want that distance to be not quite so far. And the jaw comes over and doesn't swing up until it gets to the midpoint of the drawing. Then across and over through into here. Now, starting to shape up, eh? Now I'm just going to confirm my lines of the mouth here. It starts just over below there, so I think I need to go a little bit higher with that the midline of the mouth, so it raises it up a little bit. And so this is now the midline of the mouth here, over to here, and a bit of a smile thing there. That's a bit too much. And the top of the lid starts kind of over in that area there, and this will be the middle, and then it just disappears down into the line of the midline of the mouth. I think I've gone too far over with that lower lip, so we're going to terminate the mouth right about there and a bit more of the smile line, and bring the bottom lip off there and around and up through. Okay, I'm content with this all now, so I'm going to reinforce now that that's where the shoulder lies on that side, that's where the shoulder lies on that side. The pearls will do that at the very end, don't even worry about it at all. So we've got, this is where the top, let's look at that shape there. Does that work for us? That looks like it's about right. Let's put in the eyebrows now. The eyebrows are just above. Always draw eyebrows in as a bunch of hairs rather than just a shape. Some people just decide to draw in a patch rather than actually put in, it feels better when you actually kind of sketch in some hair, the actual eyebrow hairs as they might appear. It feels better. Same thing on the other side now. It doesn't start really till right above the eye here on this side. A few spriggly ones and then some darker ones over here, around and through. And you get the sense, even just with that bit of scribbling, you get the sense of the location and the feel of the eyebrows. All right, now I can go with, there's where that big line, there's the midpoint, and there's the big line of that really strong piece of hair that comes down and just skims across above the eyebrow there. I'm going to put that in dark. I'm going to actually sketch it in a bit dark so you get the feel of it. And then there's another dark one over here, just a bit over there. I said I wasn't going to talk, and all I've done is talk. That goes there. And then we've got these shapes of the hair in here. Let's put those in. Just the feel of them. When you're doing hair, just always draw it like hair, like lots of strokes. That goes to there. And it's kind of disappearing into the dark here, so I'm just going to kind of indicate some of what's there. I've got some sprigs of hair over just off the edge of the glasses here that come over. And a few more down underneath there and around under. So it gets the feel of the hair. And on this side, we've got that. We said this one is coming out. It's a bit darker one there. Then we've got this lovely one that comes right across the glasses. There. Actually just touches, whoops, I'm going too far over. Touches on the edges of her eye, the edge of her eye, and swings back up through there. Another curl that comes across right through the middle of the drawing, right through there and over, and then there's another one that starts over into there. Put that one in, then you got this beautiful one coming across through here. So you saw the scan I made of the drawing at this stage. A couple things I wanted to just point out. I had put a line around the outside of this image just because I really liked the way it was cropped like that. You don't have to. You can make an artistic decision to actually draw the rest of the hair in there and have it be a bit more floaty and not be cropped up. That's the kind of option you have with your artistic license. Then the other thing is, in order for me to be able to scan this properly, I actually trimmed it down to 8.5 by 11 off the original sheet, and I've just kind of pasted it or taped it on here. Now, the other thing that you always need to have when you're doing pencil drawings is to have a second sheet here, so that when you're working on the drawing, you're not smudging and smearing what you've already done here, okay? So you just always be using that, especially when you get into the tonal work, and which is next. So you see I've completed the drawing with a finish line, I call it finish line. And the way I did the, you might have thought maybe I could, with my artistic license, just lose the pearls because there's so much drawing to do. But I think her look, really, the look of the pearls is really kind of nice. So the way I drew them was this. I drew a guideline down around, 2 guidelines I should say, down around, and then I filled it in with, and I wasn't counting the pearls, just filled it in with pearls all up and down all around there. Okay, now, again, I want to do this in short segments because I'm already half an hour into this thing. So the very first thing I'm going to be doing something called cross-hatching. The way cross-hatching works is you hold your pencil right out at the very at the end of it here, and you just let it float across the page like this, okay? I'm not sure this one's maybe quite dark enough. I'm going to try. No, I guess I'm stuck with this one for now. I'll get another one eventually though. So you end up with that kind of a line. Now I did that relatively quick, and that's not how you're going to do it. You're going to do it you're going to take your time with it and go very slowly. What you want to try to achieve is an area of complete tone rather than a whole bunch of lines. You don't want it to look like lines. See a bit of a difference there in that? When I have the lines, this is very linear, and this is already approaching tone. So what I'm going to start with are all of her skin tones. So I'm going to put this one direction of cross-hatching all across all of her skin tone, all up through her body here, her shoulders, into her face, up to her hair edge, okay? So I'm going to start it and show you how I go about that, and then I'm going to come back and show you when I've got it done, okay? So I'm going to start here in the corner, way down in this corner here, and I'm going to start, and it doesn't matter if I go over the edge there because I can clean that up later. So here I go. Now I'm taking my time. I'm going to do a little quicker than I should, just so, again, for purposes of timing. Now you can see how I'm going all the way up through. I want to be able to differentiate her skin tone from the paper background, okay? So that's my intention with this first pass, is to put enough tone on there that it differentiates between. I'm going to do this really a bit quicker than I normally would. I'm hoping you can see this with the video camera. I'm going to put it all the way up here. So I'm going to continue that. I'm going to continue that right up across their face. You might want to be turning your pencil now and then because the lead I like the mechanical pencils because you don't have to sharpen them. So here I go. I'm going to keep going right on up through, even through the lips, because the lips have some tone in them as well. Again, I'm doing this way a lot quicker than I should be. Okay, on the way up, right across through here. Maybe I'll slow it down a little bit so you can just see. I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just going to hold this up to the camera, and then I'm going to stop and finish it. Stop the videotaping and finish it, okay? So that's kind of the look of it for now. All right, next I'm going to finish it up in that one way, that one direction of cross-hatching, and come back, okay? So that's the cross-hatching for one way. I'll just hold this up here. So the basic one direction of skin tones is done now, and you can just see the difference there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at the second direction of cross-hatching. And on the image you can see that the skin tones are darker back behind on the shoulders there, along the edges of the arm here, in the sort of cleavage area, chest area, and across the sides of the face there. So what I'm going to do is wherever I can see the next level of darkness happening on a skin tone, I'm going to go in a different direction with my cross-hatching and kind of put those in roughly. Not really roughly, but in a general kind of way. So let's start with, say, here. I've got it's a bit darker down this corner of her arm here. So I'm going to go again, holding my pencil so that it's just kind of going to be floating out there on the surface of the paper, and I can actually now kind of engage the edge of the arm there and start bringing. This time I'm going to bring it toward me, just because it makes sense of where it's sitting. Now I'm going to add another direction of cross-hatching here. And I'm only going to come out as far, just part way. I'm not going to come all the way across because it's only the edge of the arm there, the upper arm that is darker. So I'll put that area in. Now obviously right across the middle of her chest there where her cleavage is, I'm going to put, again, I'm going to just go a different direction. I don't necessarily always have to be going that same direction, but it's going to be a different direction than originally set up there. So it's a bit darker, that whole little area in there, so I'm going to go across through there, do the whole area a little bit darker. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit just to show you something else here. So there's one, now I've got two directions on that area of her chest. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go in there and pencil in the edge of the bit of the difference there between the layers of the upper layer of her chest and into the cleavage. Just going to darken that in a little bit there. And then the actual lower area there, I'm going to go another direction altogether. Let's say, go this way here. I'm going to add that in now. So you can see how I'm kind of building to, with these various directions of tone, I'm building to darker areas of the skin tones as I go, okay? So that gives you a sense now of how that looks there, in the cleavage area, how it darkens there. Now I'm going to come over to the other side to the edge of the arm there and put that in. So again, I'm going to go the direction of the arm here. It's just a different direction than the original cross hatch that I put on there. And again, taking your time. I'm going a little bit faster just because I'm videotaping it here. Looks like I need to make that a little bit larger. You're making adjustments in your drawing as you go too. Now, this will be a really good one over here. See how much darker that is over on the edge. Whoops, make sure that's in the camera. That area over there, especially against the edge of the face. So I'm actually going to, what you do is rotate your canvas, or your drawing around a bit, just so you can work on it easier. I want to be able to go a different direction there. So I'll just put this the same direction. I want to darken that whole area in there. So I'm going to come in with my cross hatching going a different direction. Again, you're floating your pencil. Doesn't matter if it goes over the edge a little bit, because the miracle of kneadable erasers is that you can come across through there and just take out whatever you've gone over the edge. You can clean it up. So I'm going to put that in there dark, so you can see where that shoulder is darker against the hue values of the face. So it's darker in there. It's all dark across through there. So I can go that whole area dark across through there. So I'm going to stop now, just to show, and when I come back, you'll see what I've done with cross-hatching. This second way of cross-hatching, a different direction I should say of cross-hatching, to start putting in the darker areas of the skin tone, okay? So here we are now with two layers of crosshatch shading, and you might think that maybe she looks a bit dark, the skin tone looks a bit dark, but you've got to remember that we're going to be putting in a whole lot of dark here and dark all the way up around here, so that's going to really mitigate how dark that feels at this point in time. You got to think ahead like that. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to proceed right now with the rest of the skin tone. I'm going to go in and finalize one of the eyes. I'm going to really show you how you go about getting an eye really finished up, okay? So I've moved the camera in, brought in a little bit closer. I hope you can see what I'm doing here, okay? So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some crosshatch shading on the general, the iris color of the iris hue here. So I'm just going to put one layer across here. And I can see from my reference that her eye is actually kind of a middle gray dark there, but quite a bit darker. Eyes are always darker around the outside edge. So I'm going to try to adjust this right now so that eye is the kind of dark tone it should be on the inside away from the dark ring. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to guess that it should be about this dark. Now the one thing that happens with eyes is that it's always a bit, not only is it darker around the outside ring, but it's also darker right where the eyelid, the top lid, is kind of in overhang. So I'm going to go up there and put some dark in across through there. Quite dark. I'm going to really lay into my pencil now. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other edge. I'm going to put that in a lot darker. I'm going to soften that edge so it's not quite such a real hard line, because the edges of irises are always just a little softer than they appear, than you think. So the same on the other side here. Now I'm going to put a dark edge on there. You can see all of a sudden how the eye is starting to come alive just by those various kinds of dark tones. Now the pupils at this point in time is not really it is the very darkest part of the eye, so I'm going to really go in there and put in some dark. I may have to eventually, I'm going to get out some softer pencils that will really make for very dark tones. Then the other thing is where I've got that little flash of white in there. I always put those in because it makes the eye look kind of alive. Let's go in and put a little bit more dark around that so you can't see the linear edge of that. Okay. There, so that's basically how and I might put little spikes of dark coming in from the outer edge, because the details of the eye always have these little sort of spikes coming in from the edge. Okay, so that's basically, I need a bit softer pencil to really finish these eyes up, and I'll do that later. Now the other thing is that the whites of the eyes are typically not white. There's some gray in them as well. And there's quite a real nice strong line along the edge there. So I'm going to put that in quite strong there. And then when I look at the reference, it's really quite dark out on the edge of the eyeball there. So I'm going to go in, even though I've got that sweep of hair coming over there, I'm going to ignore that. And I'm going to put quite a bit of dark right in on the edge of the white of the eye and soften it, make a gradation as it comes over. So it's really light then once it gets right next to the iris. Okay, so it's dark over there. And on the other side, it's not quite as dark there as over on here as it is there. So I'm going to start from that little globby thing, little thing in the corner, and I'm going to bring over some tone, darken right in the corner, then lighten it as I come over. And then I'm also going to put a bit more dark across the top edge of the underside of the eyelid there, the upper eyelid. Now you see how it's starting to really come alive, just with that bit of drawing. That quick bit of drawing, you really get that much happening. Now she doesn't seem to have, I'm not really seeing really dark eyelashes, but I'm going to add some in. I'm going to put some eyelashes in here because it always looks a little bit, spruces it up a little bit when you put some. And you just put them in, mostly they're always just over on, you won't really see them unless they're really well made up. You don't really see them on the outer edge of the upper lid, and they come over a bit into the middle here. See that? You may not be able to see that from where you're there. I'll show you, I'll do a close-up at some point. Then the bottom of she looks like she has a bit of makeup on the bottom edge, so that bottom edge of the eye looks a little bit darker. I can see some little lashes coming off there too, so I'm going to squeeze in a few of those. Now that edge of the upper edge of the lower eyelid is actually darker than the eye, the white of the eye, so I'm going to put a bit of tone in there. And I'm going to spruce up, put a bit more tone in the skin tone around the eye, so that looks a little bit darker across through here. Now you can see how I'm going to pick this up and hold it up to you, and so you can see it. Whoop, get it in the right angle here. And also, when you'll be able to see this better when I actually do a scan of it and put it on the video. Okay, so wanted to show you that. So then the next place to go is the third layer of halftone, of crosshatch tone, and I'm going to actually I'm going to go where there are areas that are quite dark. Make sure this is in the right spot here. Where there are areas that are quite dark, say that's dark there, but the hair is really dark against it. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to darken that up a little bit. But I'm also going to start doing things like that dark there against the face is really critical to me, for me, and I really understand how dark that should be. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to really put some dark into that area there. But I'm keeping in mind that there are, I hope I got this, you can see this. There are the pieces of hair that are coming up through. I've got to make sure I'm aware that they're there and not cover them over too much. But I want that whole edge along there to be a lot darker than it is, because it'll make the face show up better. The edge of the face. Now see how that edge of that face shows up when you put that dark. Behind the eyeglass there, it's really dark in there. So I'm going to come in there and really lay. Now I'm being a bit crude, and I just mean that as opposed to fine about how I'm putting that in there with my halftone. I could take my time and go in there and really do it layer at a time, but I'm going to put it one way like this, then I'm going to come back in and go another way like this. But I'm really jumping into it being really quite dark. There's not a lot in there. You don't see too much in the way of hair in there. But now over in here though, you can actually see the way the hair structure works. It's quite dark right there. I'll bring this over so I'm not. So this is the next stage. I'm going to start going the third stage of tonal work, where I really start putting, see how I've shifted from it being floating like this to come in and really take control and really start adding it in. Okay? I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to come back with a lot more tone work done. So you can see now that I've got quite a bit of dark put in there. Now what I've started doing is I've brought in some softer pencils. So the softer the pencil, the darker the lead that goes on. So I've got a 2B, a 4B, and a 6B pencil here, along with my regular HB mechanical pencil. And the bigger the number, the softer they are. So a lot of this dark I've put in here with some of my softer pencils. So I'm going to just jump right on now and do a whole lot of really quick dark stuff. And that's the nice thing. You can actually, you probably should build it from cross hatching. But I'm just going to jump right in now. See how dark this is down here? Whoop, I'm probably not showing it. That where her dress is here. Her dress is black or really dark. So what I'm going to do is very quickly put in some of that dark so you can get a sense of the drama that you can get from having, I'm going to use some 2B pencils here, my 2B pencil, and I'm going to put it in relatively quickly. You can see I've taken off the guidelines for the pearls, and I've sort of started working on the pearls. So if I go over here now, I'm going to start with I'm going to put a really dark edge on first, like this. Because that's got to end up being a very dark edge, and I'll put it down here too. So I'll just do this area right here. So I'm going to start by putting in, with the softer pencil, it's a 2B, I'm going to start putting in some really, see how much now I'm really laying into it now. I'm not being quite so discreet about how I'm getting it down. So I'm going to put in quite a bit of dark and go right to the very edge, just really dark right to the very edge. Okay, I'm just going to do some of this, just to give you a sense of how you go about it. Now, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to add in another layer. And see how dark you can get that, so quickly dark you can make that. And the more angles of crosshatch you put in, the smoother it gets as well. Okay? So I'm not going to do too much more than that for this. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come in right against the pearls here, and I'm going to put some real dark in, because the pearls are really white against that dark. I'm going to actually, now I've gripped even closer. Now I want really a lot of control for my pencil. So I'm going to come in there and really put that in dark around the edges of those pearls so they really stand out. And maybe do a bit on the other side as well. Go up that edge of the dress there. Come down through there. See how much darker I can make that? And just really, really, the soft pencil allows you to just really put the dark in quick. You start off really with the HB, so under control with putting in your skin tones and the initial layers quite lightly, and you build. This whole thing is a process. People say they can't draw a straight line, or they can't draw. Anybody can draw. It's just a matter of having a process taught you, and that's what I'm teaching here, is a process. So see that now, how dark that is compared to. See that you're starting to get the sense of the drama of the dark halftone there. Okay, and I've already done the other eye dark, and we've got that all done. We've got some dark showing up against the face here, so that the chin actually shows up more. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'll draw one of those lenses of the glasses there. I'll darken it in as dark as it should be. So I need this in the way here. So I'm just going to, again, I'm going to use my 2B. I can even switch to a 4B or a 6B. It would go a lot quicker even. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a real dark edge on that, and a real dark inner edge on that. Now there's a bit of a lighter area. You can't really see it, but I'm going to put from so far away, but there's just a little bit of a lighter edge there because it's darker against the skin tone. Now see this? I'm just going to go in there again with my 2B pencil, which is very black, and I'm just going to do it. It's crosshatch still. You're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to make it as dark as you want it to be. And then I'll give it another one the other direction. I'm going to come up top here, and I'll put some dark in across through there. And again, if you go over the edges, because it's not always possible to control. So see there, maybe I'll just go right on down around to get a sense of the weight of the dark of that. Now there are little flashes of light. You can't. I'm going off camera here. There are little flashes of light on the edges of that I can either put in. I can put in later with my kneadable eraser. But I'm going to put this, I'm going to go dark around the edge, dark on the edge, fill it in. Dark on the edge here, right on the edge, on my true guideline line there, across through there. And you're starting to see the sense of the drama of that dark against the middle tones that you've already established there in the drawing. Now this is a little crude. I'm going to do some more finessing of it, but you get a real sense of, well, I hope I'm not off the camera there. So you get a real good sense of the darkness of that, the darkness of that. Now the last thing I'm going to do, and then I'm going to finish it, and you'll see it finished, is I'm going to go and see all this dark around the hair here. So what I'm going to do is, again, maybe I'll go to even a softer pencil. I'm going to go with my 4B now. And all that dark stuff in there, I'm going to be drawing it as if it's hair, when it is hair. But I'm always going to be going, any dark I'm going to be adding it in as if it's dark, the darkness between hairs. So see how dark I can come in there? And I can be relatively loose with it too, but it has to be hair-like. See, this is kind of hair-like. Now it's really light down through here, so I got to be a little more concerned about making sure I leave that area kind of light. But then it gets a little bit darker in here. I can come in there and put that in a bit darker in there. And already it's starting to feel like the way the hair works. What I want to show you though is this. How dark it is out around the edges here. If I put in some really dark stuff, now I'm just going to go in there and I'm just going to make that kind of an abstract dark in there, because I can't really see what's going on from the reference material. So I'm going to go right to the edge of my cropping there, go in there and put that in nice and dark all down through there, and then pull it out of the hair into there. There, you're already getting the sense of that because you're drawing it as if it's hair, darkness around hair. You can put that in there around the edges of that, around the edges of that, down into here. and then put that dark. And again, if I go over the edge, I can go back and clean that up. You're getting a real sense. And once this stuff all gets in here, the whole face, the whole drama of this dark, 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 all really makes the thing come together. Okay, so I'm going to finish it now, and then I'll come back and I'll say goodbye. Alright, so I've finished up the drawing. It took me about another 5 hours, so that would make a total of about 6 hours for the entire drawing. So I'll show it to you here now. So, there you go. Now you needn't aspire to ending up with a drawing quite this realistic, because I am a high realist painter artist after all. However, I'm going to say thank you for participating in this, and good luck with trying to do some drawings on your own. Okay?